Have you ever felt like you're starving for love, but the moment someone actually tries to feed you, it feels like they're handing you poison? Or maybe you've experienced that confusing cycle where one day you're 100% all in, texting your partner nonstop, dreaming of a future together, and the next day, you wake up feeling like you need to escape, delete their number, and go live on a remote island? If this hot and cold dynamic sounds familiar, you might be dealing with the rarest and most complex pattern in attachment theory, fearful avoidant attachment. Often called disorganized attachment by psychologists. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of the fearful avoidant. We're going to look at why your brain treats intimacy like a threat, the push-pull cycle that leaves you exhausted, and most importantly, the science-backed steps you can take to move toward security and peace. To understand the fearful avoidant FA style, we first have to look at the spectrum. Most people know about the anxious attachment style, those who crave closeness and fear abandonment, and the dismissive avoidant style, those who prioritize independence and fear being trapped. But the fearful avoidant is a unique, painful hybrid of both. You have a high need for closeness and a high fear of it at the same time. In psychology, we call this a fright without solution. It's like having your foot on the gas and the brake at the exact same time. Your system is hypervigilant, constantly scanning for two things: signs that someone is leaving you, and signs that someone is controlling or betraying you. Because you're scanning for both, you're never truly at rest. Where does this come from? It almost always starts in childhood, and current research highlights a very specific environment. Unlike the dismissive avoidant, whose parents might have just been cold or distant, or the anxious person, whose parents were inconsistent, the fearful avoidant often had a caregiver who was a source of fear. This doesn't always mean physical abuse. It could be a parent who was emotionally volatile, struggled with addiction, or was so deeply traumatized themselves that they were unpredictable. To a child, the parent is supposed to be the biological safe haven. But if that safe haven is also the person who scares you, your brain experiences a massive biological paradox. You are wired to run toward your parent for safety, but if they are the source of the danger, you also have to run away from them to survive. This disorganizes your nervous system's ability to process connection, and you carry that blueprint into adulthood. Let's talk about the push-pull cycle in relationships, because this is where the fearful avoidant struggle is most visible. In the beginning, an FA can be the most romantic, intense, and attentive partner you've ever met. Why? Because when a relationship is new, it's novel, you're in the chase, and the threat of deep, vulnerable intimacy hasn't set in yet. But the moment the other person says, "I love you," or asks to be exclusive, a switch flips. Suddenly, that closeness feels like a loss of self. You might start noticing the ick. Suddenly their chewing is annoying, or their fashion sense is a deal breaker. These are actually deactivating strategies. Your brain is creating distance to protect you from the vulnerability it perceives as dangerous. But here's the kicker. As soon as you successfully push them away and they start to leave, your anxious side takes over. You panic. You realize you don't want to be alone, so you pull them back in. This cycle repeats until both partners are emotionally drained. Another major psychological trait of the fearful avoidant is hypervigilance. You are a master at reading micro-expressions. You can tell the second a partner's tone changes, even if it's just by 5%, while others might ignore a short text or a slightly distant look. The FA brain interprets it as, "They're mad at me," "They're going to betray me," or "I need to leave before they leave me." This leads to something called testing. You might subconsciously start a fight or pull away just to see if the other person will stay. It's a way of asking, "Are you actually safe?" without having to be vulnerable and ask the question directly. But because these tests are often hidden and aggressive, they usually end up pushing the partner away, which only confirms your original fear that no one is reliable. So, how do we heal this? It starts with acknowledging that your attachment style is a survival mechanism, not a personality flaw. Your brain learned to do this to keep you safe in a chaotic environment. The first step in healing is somatic regulation. Because the fearful avoidant style is so rooted in a flight or fight nervous system response, you can't just think your way out of it. When you feel that urge to run or that ick feeling rising up, you have to realize your nervous system is being triggered. Instead of acting on the impulse to ghost or start a fight, try to sit with the physical sensation. Can you stay in the room for 5 more minutes? Can you take 3 deep breaths? You're teaching your body that closeness isn't a death sentence. The second step is object constancy. This is a psychological term for the ability to remember that someone still cares about you even when they aren't physically there or when they are expressing a different emotion. Like anger. For a fearful avoidant, a small conflict can feel like the total end of the relationship. To heal, you have to practice acting opposite. If your impulse is to shut down, try to share one small, honest feeling. Instead of saying, "I'm fine," while being cold, try saying, "I'm feeling a little overwhelmed right now and I need 20 minutes of space. But I'm coming back." This builds a bridge of communication that replaces the wall of avoidance. Thirdly, you have to work on subconscious reprogramming. This involves identifying your core wounds. Most fearful avoidants have a core wound of, "I am unworthy," or "people will always betray me." You need to challenge these stories with evidence. Start a list of times people did show up for you, or times when a conflict was resolved successfully. Current trends in psychology emphasize inner child work for disorganized attachment, literally visualizing that younger version of you that was scared and telling them, "I am the adult now, and I am going to keep us safe." We don't have to push people away to survive anymore. It's also crucial to look at the types of partners you're attracted to. Many fearful avoidants are drawn to chaos because it feels familiar. You might find a secure, stable partner boring because your nervous system confuses anxiety with chemistry. If there's no drama, your brain thinks there's no spark. Healing means learning to value peace. It means giving the boring, secure person a chance and realizing that real intimacy is built in the quiet, consistent moments, not just the high-intensity makeup-breakup cycles. If you are the partner of a fearful avoidant, the best thing you can do is provide radical consistency. Don't play games. If you say you're going to call at 8 p.m., call at 8 p.m. When they pull away, don't chase them desperately, but don't disappear either. A simple message like, "I see you need some space. I'm here when you're ready to talk," provides the safety they never had as a child. You cannot fix them, but you can provide a secure environment where they feel safe enough to fix themselves. Healing from fearful avoidant attachment is not a linear journey. There will be days where you feel totally secure, and days where you feel like a total runner again. That's okay. The goal isn't to never feel triggered. It's to shorten the time between the trigger and the recovery. Every time you choose vulnerability over a deactivating strategy, you are literally rewiring your brain. You are moving from a state of disorganized fear to a state of organized security. You deserve a relationship that feels like a safe harbor, not a battlefield. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Which part of the push-pull cycle do you find most difficult? Understanding yourself is the first step toward the love you actually want. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next deep dive.